Hi, welcome to my journey. Oh man, we're gonna have to start that video over again because we were starting off in a negative note, okay? But I was just tripping because, I was sitting up here listening to this boomer, right? Listening to this boomer talk today, right? She's 73, 72. She's 72 or 73, and she's been living in her van for about a decade. So she says, right? She's been living in a van even though she's wrote 5 books, right? And she's a YouTuber, and she gets $1,000 a month Social Security. Okay? So they asked her, they were asking her some questions. They had questions for her. And she thought she was just going to answer the questions, right? And that will be that. So she was talking about her parents. Okay? She was talking about her parents. She said she knew that her mother wasn't happy. Right? However, she never heard her parents argue or fight. But she knew her mother wasn't happy. Okay? So here's the whole thing about this woman is she doesn't even see that she's an anomaly. Okay? She's not normal. Right? Her situation will never be normal. If it was normal, that would be tragic. The mere fact that she got out the way she did and is living the way she is, she don't even see it as a miracle, but it is. It's a miracle. But she's out here trying to make it seem like if she can do it, anybody can do it. Now, I'm all for, hey, if you want to know a new way, this is a new way, right? But when you come off making it seem like just because you can do it and you don't see yourself as living a miracle, that, oh, well, if other people can't do what you can do, then they're inadequate. You see, this is the language that they don't even realize that they're utilizing, but they are. Right? That's that same language. Oh, I love you, let me help you. But hindsight, what they're saying is you're inadequate. And, therefore, you need help. And if you don't accept the help, then you must be insane. Okay? Okay. So, one of the things that I had looked up, because it came to me, well, 2 things I had looked up. Right? 2 things that I had looked up. I had looked up, are both men and women able to be cloned? Right? And AI said that even though a man can be cloned, he still has to have the female chromosome. Therefore, he cannot be cloned by himself. Because a woman is an XX, she can be cloned without a male chromosome, right? XX is a female chromosome. And then it was downloaded to me that that's the reason why they decided to ban and outlaw human cloning, right? They can clone any other animal on the planet, but they can't clone the human animal because men forbid it, because they already know they can be pretty much, eliminated. And they don't even want women to even have the notion that women can eliminate men and still they will survive, right? They will survive because women can be cloned. Look it up. Take a deep dive. Go into AI. Ask several of the chats, the chat boxes, and find out. I'm not lying. And if I'm lying, put it down there in the description box below. I mean, in the chat box below. Another thing, that I wanted to talk about was the situation of this woman, right? The situation of this woman is she never even identified how controlling her father was, right? That, there was no fighting observed. I mean, that's like complete dominance, right? No fighting. No, I mean, let me tell you something. That was the first thing that you'll hear men say over and over and over. No arguing in front of the kids. No fighting in front of the kids, right? So the kids, they feel it. They feel the tension. They see the animosity, right? They don't understand what's going on, right? And of course, the woman is thinking, well, maybe it's just best that, we just keep it from the kids and they'll be out on their own by the time, they become adults, and that will be that, right? They never knew that OCD father would be sitting up there talking about, their mama was the problem. Right? And we keep trying to figure out, why is it that the men are given all of this freedom to pick and choose, the people that they want, right? They were able to pick and choose, preteens, right? Because they're like, well, maybe I just need to pick one and train one, right? And that's why they justified, having sex, with children, pretty much, right? And then I guess they had just agreed that no, that doesn't make any sense. You're lying. You just you've neglected so many of these teenage brides. And then what did they tell their emperor? They told their emperor, well, they couldn't support their teenage bride, right? That's why men were getting all of this support, right? And you will see this happening in the ripple fractured behavior amongst men, right? Like when a man has a daughter, and he sees a man daughter seemed like she kind of likes, and next thing he's offering, this man, a job or, some type of stability, to have a family. Okay? Men are very manipulative. I know we want to sit up here and pretend like a lot of things that happen to us are natural, and they're not. They're just not natural. Okay? So, who was to know that even after the fact, right? Say, the women successfully, raised the children, which is what happened in the 70s, right? I mean, the boomers, the people who are 70 years old, right? The family was able to successfully, raise children, right? And get through their life. Only to find out that, it was not based off of love. It was based off of survival. It was based off of lust. Right? It was based off of some weird cooperation, a contract, right? It wasn't real marriage, right? They wasn't united in spirit, right? And once men started identifying this union of spirit, they started taking advantage of that too, right? Where they would pretend to unite with people in spirit, let the other person, give their energy, and then they wouldn't give it in return. Those are the people that we call narcissists, right? We call them narcissistic. So, now men are trying to say that women are narcissistic, right? They're trying to do the reverse psychology thing that they always do. They try to do the reverse projection that they always do, to blame women, right? And it's like, how can you blame women when women, they rarely even play a part in society? You can't blame women for, the systematic, oppression or oppressive ways of our society when women never really had the power to vote. Where women, even to this day, can't say no. Oh my God, that CVS is closed? Yep, I believe that CVS is closed. No, that's Walgreens. That's CVS over there. Okay. Unless something really bad happened where somebody might have ran some kind of vehicle into the CVS or something through the doors and robbed it or something. I don't know. It's weird. Really weird. it seemed like I remember just looking at it yesterday when I was thinking about looking at some cold medication, some allergy medication, and I decided to go to CVS rather than go to Walgreens. Yeah. Anyway, so they've been making all of these adjustments, for the whim of these men. For the whim, right? On these whimsical, notions that, well, if we do it this way, we can get this done and we can make this work, and, and the men are, they buy into that. Right? But here's the problem with that. The problem with that is they don't consult the other half of human beings, and that other half is women. See, they want to do things and call themselves humans, right? And they want to exclude women out of that definition. And that goes back to what I was saying. The reason why they want to exclude women out of that definition is because women can exclude them out of the equation. That's why they want to prove they're going to spend eternity trying to prove that they can exclude women, because science and knowledge and history and folklore and all of the evidence that they pull on reveals to them that no, women can exist without men, right? Similar to, chickens can lay eggs without having a man, right? Similar to, there's certain amphibians out there that not only can lay eggs, right, but can also change its sex in order to fertilize the eggs. Similar to Finding Nemo, that fish animated movie where the clownfish right? The clownfish, they can, like the males, they can turn into a female. Right? But they can't revert back to being a male. So this is why I'm saying it seems like it doesn't matter whatever, logic or information or technology, folklore, reasoning, philosophy, right? It always turns out that men are definitely the subordinate to the women, which is why they have spent so much time and effort and brutality and tyranny. Damn, woman. 51 degrees. She's out here jogging like it's summertime. Maybe she's one of those women from, Europe, 50 degrees is like, it's like summertime. She looked really good doing it too. And so, getting back to what I was saying, this has been a quest that men have been on since the beginning of time, right? And that is why, you know, through their anger, through their jealousy, through their relentless combativeness, even against God, that they decide, that they were going to, minimize the significance of women at their own detriment. That's the sick part about it. It will be at their own detriment. And they don't care. They don't care because, hold on. They don't care. Oh wow, I just found a fishing pole on the ground. And of course I stopped to get it. It was just laying there. I'm like, what? And it's a good fishing pole too. It's not just some weak ass fishing pole. So whoever lost it, thank you. I guess that means I am indeed gonna have to go fishing here pretty soon. Now that I've been gifted a fishing pole, I'll never go hungry. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Anyway, so here's what I was watching today, right? I was watching this guy. His channel is the Sabbatical, right? And he's trying to educate people subliminally, right? He's not just like throwing out propaganda, but he's putting out information, and if you know, kind of way that people do things, right? So he went to Ukraine, he went to Russia, now he's going to other countries that were under the influence of Russia, so that people can understand what's really going on. Right? You got to understand what's really going on. Right? Because people typically were under three different types of influences, right? Which was Russian, Asian, and I don't know, I want to say English, okay? But it's hard to just say English because English, turns it into a white thing, right? They don't necessarily make it just a country thing. And I guess that's probably because the English had all the intentions in the world of incorporating, mini lands. Okay? So, yeah. Dang, that sighting looked real good. It was a great sighting. It looked really good. So yeah, this is definitely a gift that I accept. It's a nice fishing pole too. I'm surprised it was just laying there in the street, and I was getting ready to pass it up, and because I thought, oh, maybe it was a broken down, fishing pole, and somebody just, when they dropped it, they just like, yeah, at least now I don't have to throw it away. But no, it's a good fishing pole. I can tell it works by the way that this end is arched back. Must mean it has a valid hook on the back somewhere. Yeah, thank you. Like I said, I'll never go hungry. Teach me how to fish. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to fish. Yeah. Watch where you're going, dude. I don't think my little car could take a crash with a big ass truck like yours. Oh my God. And most of these houses, they all have metal roofs. Dang, look at that house there. Look at this beautiful house right there. Just look at it, look at it, look at it. And they're calling it the meadow house. Look at it. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful house. With a beautiful view. Oh. Looks like a glass house to me. But with the technology that we have today, even a glass house, you can get like shades, you can get like, like those roll down garages to cover the doors and windows, So, because I know that's what I wanted, That's what I used to dream about, I used to dream about having a home with a roll top roof, right? And that way I could open up the roof when I wanted to and stargaze. Yeah. Moonbathe. Sunbathe. Yep. So I'm excited to try out my new fishing pole. Wow. I had went online to find out how much a fishing pole would cost, right? Finding out that, a pole by itself, a cheap pole by itself, no reel, nothing, was like $9, right? With the reel, hook and all of this other stuff, all of that's like add-ons. And it just, it goes from $9 to like $50, $60, like that, right? But anyway, I got one for free, and I'm happy about that. I'm not real happy about the notion that it could be a gift from the gods telling me, you'll survive, you could take on the challenge, even if you go homeless, you have a fishing pole, you'll be able to eat, you have everything but a tent, you have everything but a waterproof tent and a 0 degrees sleeping bag, but you'll survive, right? Because of course, we all come to this earth, with, our intentions, right? With a contract on what, what challenges that we want to take on, right? And some people, they overstep their grounds, thinking that they can interfere with somebody else's destiny, and they get a smooth backhand from source that's a no, that you don't mess around with other people's destiny. And that's the biggest problem that men are facing to this day, is that they'll forever feel like they'll never win, because they're always trying to take women's purpose and mission from them. And so they'll always be facing karma, which is what they're not getting through that barbaric skull of theirs that need to be sorted out. Okay. But, it is what it is. Just like they said 2020 was the apocalypse, right? And they swore God was going to take the earth out. Did it happen? No, it did not happen. 1999, right? They swore that was the end of time. Did it happen? No. Right? So I don't know if these men be going on these like 10-year missions, right? They be going on these 10-year missions, right? Of what they plan on doing, long range plans, for 10 years, right? That they think that's long range, right? And women are trying to tell them, no, baby, 20 years and 30 years is long range planning, right? You want to have a child, plan for 30 years, to be a participant in that child's life. They're like, as long as I give them 10 years, right? And why do I say that? Because if a man marries a woman for 10 years, then they had determined that that's enough. That's long enough for the woman to receive, shared, retirement benefits. If he has some, right? That jerk could definitely be somebody that, didn't work. All right? But anyway, woo! I'm so glad I got out today. It feels good out here. And I got a gift. I got me a Christmas gift. What did I get for Christmas? I got a fishing pole. Directly from the gods. I start feeling like I'm living out a version of the movie, the Titans, right? And how God would be like, bing, you know, give her some money. She needs it. And then the goddesses has to go and give me some money, right? Then God be like, give her some food. Bing! And the goddesses has to give me some food, right? Give her a vehicle. Bing! And the goddesses has to make sure that I get my chariot, right? And oh my God, give her a companion. She's been asking for another puppy. Boom! And the goddesses send a stork to have a Petey baby delivered to me. Thank you, God. Thank you. Okay. Here's the thing that I do want to talk about. Right. Now, you know, I was sitting up there craving beef, right? Because I'm like, maybe I need to go on this carnivore diet because I'm gaining weight, or I can't lose weight, right? And these people talking about, shoot, they carnivores and they can, they done lost 65, 70 pounds, right? Now, if you watch my videos, that I bought 13 pounds of prime rib beef, okay? Oh my God. I know I got to be an omnivore because I couldn't eat that beef by itself. I could not. I mean, I could eat the full steak only if, I'm also able to eat, some carbs to go with it. But just plain old meat, not beef. It wouldn't be beef. It wouldn't be beef. Beef has a way of making you feel full, and you're not really full. Ooh, it's hot in here. 51 degrees outside. Oh my goodness, he's got that 4-cylinder sounding like it's a hot rod. I forgot what I was talking about. Because, hearing that car made me think about Sanction Ivan, right? And the last video he had put out is he and his buddies, was on their way, to do some racing. And anyway, they've been, putting together their own vehicles, not up to safety standards, right? And so, not up to safety standards. So one of his buddies ended up saying that, his gas pedal got stuck and ran into the back of Ivan's vehicle, right? And he's had 3 accidents in the last year, right? he's almost starting to look like a professional claims artist. Because this one would be the fourth, but he's trying to make it seem like it's not going to come from that man's insurance company, that the man is going to pay for the repairs himself, and he's probably not even going to talk about it. Okay? Yeah. But you know, that's part of the reason why, you know, they want people to, you know, to be certified to follow certain safety standards. Okay? Because they can be a huge problem. And that's one of the things that, you know, he thought about. Hindsight, of course, was, well, you know, it was a good thing that, you know, his friend had ran into the back of him, because if he had ran into the back of somebody else, you know, it would have been definitely problematic. Right? So, getting back to what I was saying, right? So now I'm gonna see if I can put the prime rib steak, if I can put that into the blender, and that way I will have like beef cutlets. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make some beef cutlets. Because sometimes, you know, damn man, they erected that house quick. Or once they got the foundation down, if they ain't got to do no bricks, that's not a brick house. That's a vinyl house. Sticks and aluminum. What was I talking about? Yeah, I'm gonna make me some beef cutlets. That's what I'm gonna do. Because, you know, I'm not with the chewing of the beef, right? I'm just, it makes my jaws tired. You know, I'm sitting up here trying to chew this 1-inch steak, which is very good. It's good. It's buttery. You know, it's tender, but you still got to chew it. Which is why people like hamburgers so much. It's easy to chew meat. Easy, easy, easy. So that's what I'm going to try when I get home, is I'm going to put the beef in the food processor, see if I could, you know, make me some cutlets, and I'll tell you how it tastes. Because I'm telling you, it had me feeling like, you're not a carnivore. You're not a carnivore. But, you know, our choppers change as we get older. They do. Our choppers, they change. Okay? And, you know, never would I have thought that I would get tired chewing. Just tired of chewing. Like, damn. You know, and I know, you know, I really chew up my food. I pulverize my food before I swallow, right? Now, my family members, I never understood how they would chomp, chomp, swallow. Chomp, chomp, swallow. Right? And I'm like, did you even chew? Did you even chew your food? I wouldn't ask them that, but I be looking at them. Did you even chew your food? Because to me, if they had even chewed their food, ain't no way they would be finished in 15 minutes. No way. You know, and I got my pitties, right? My pitties, my grown pitty, she definitely has, showed me the powers of her jaws and her bite, right? She's shown me, right? I had bought her like one of them big ass, I don't know what it was, a horse bone of a leg or something like that, and gave it to her for Christmas. And when she was younger, she had devoured that sucker in 20 minutes. I'm like, damn, these pitties can be dangerous. Because she devoured it in 20 minutes. I promise you, she did not bury that bone. She ate that bone in the house, and there was no way that she could bury that bone. And that bone was gone in 20 minutes, right? Now, I told you, the rib bones that I gave the puppies, they did exactly what I thought they would do, right? They were so happy that I gave them some bones, right, to chew on. And now Gracie, she don't have the bite yet that Snoopy has, right? Snoopy's an old dog, but she still got a strong ass bite, right? And so she chomp on the rib bones, and she was okay for a minute, right, to let Gracie, have her own bone, right? But then later on, I heard Gracie whining, right? I'm like, what's wrong, Gracie? And even though I knew what was going on, Snoopy went over there and snatched that bone from Gracie and told Gracie, set your ass down and let a real person show you how to eat this bone. Woo! Yeah. Because Snoopy will give me that, she'll put her head down when she knows she done did something that, I possibly might reprimand her for, but she'll basically tell me she couldn't help herself. She'll be like, I couldn't help myself. So yeah. Starbucks certainly looked like it went out of business. They're so empty. Not even an employee car in the parking lot. Yeah, so I'm real excited about my fishing pole. I'll be singing that song, sitting on the dock of the bay. Sitting on the dock of the bay. I wish this car would get off me. Yeah, please go around. Go around. Next time, don't tailgate. Right? A man driving a Honda CB. Mad probably because he has to drive that car. He probably really want a V8. Oh yeah, a V8. sarcastically, like, wow, I could have had a V8, which was, you know, a vitamin pack, tomato juice. Yeah, CRV. I think that's like that's a woman. Well, if I was to say that would be a woman's car, would I be sexist? I don't know how I would be sexist when they sold me this car. They said, "Look, this is a car for somebody that drives like grandma." And I said, "I'm a grandma. I am a grandma." They're like, "Look, you know, you might be able to go 20 miles with this, and then you got to go back home, and make sure that you don't go fast. Make sure you don't break that off, and make sure you don't use all of the electricity all up at once." I said, "I can do that," and I did. I've been doing it. Do I have to do it for air? Damn, I don't want to have to do it for air. Can somebody donate me a long distance electrical car? Oh yeah. If they would have ran into my fence, yeah, they would have got some damage. They would have got some serious damage. Now some people, their fences, you know, they're holding up with a prayer, with some bubble gum and a prayer. Mm-hmm.